What if I told you that the reason your manifestations haven't shown up yet isn't because you're not powerful enough, but because nobody ever explained the full truth to you? We've all seen the polished side of manifestation. The vision boards, the affirmations, the promises that if you just believe, everything will fall into place. But here's the uncomfortable reality most manifestation gurus never share. It's not always that simple. And if you've ever felt frustrated, stuck, or like the universe somehow skipped over your order, you're not alone. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the myths, the mistakes, and the hidden delays that make manifesting feel so tough, so you can finally stop doubting yourself and start understanding how this really works. Now, let's get real. The reason this topic matters so much is because most people give up on manifestation way too early. They try for a few weeks, maybe a few months, and when results don't appear, they assume it's not for them. But what if the truth is that you weren't failing? You were just following half the story. Here's the first big myth gurus rarely talk about. Manifestation is not instant gratification. Social media makes it look like you can script a desire tonight and wake up tomorrow to find it sitting in your driveway. But manifestation is not a vending machine. The universe doesn't operate on your timeline. It operates on alignment. That gap between asking and receiving isn't punishment. It's often a period of preparation. But because most people don't expect that delay, they misread it as failure. Another myth is the idea that if you think one negative thought, you've ruined everything. How many times have you heard someone say, "Be careful what you think, you'll attract it"? This creates so much unnecessary pressure. The truth? Manifestation is about dominant patterns, not random moments of doubt. A single bad day doesn't cancel your dream. What matters is the energy you return to most consistently. And then there's the myth that you don't have to take action at all, that the universe will just deliver if you sit back and visualize. Yes, belief and energy are critical, but the missing truth is that aligned action is part of the process. You can't manifest a thriving business if you never launch anything. You can't call in a relationship if you never open your heart or meet new people. Visualizing plants the seed, but action waters it. Now let's talk about the common mistakes beginners make, because these are the traps that quietly block results. The first mistake is treating manifestation like a to-do list. Maybe you've written your affirmations 55 times, made a vision board, listened to subliminals at night, and still feel nothing's working. The problem here isn't the technique, it's the energy behind it. If you're doing these practices from a place of desperation, you're actually reinforcing lack. Imagine trying to grow a plant, but digging it up every day to check if it's sprouting. That's what desperation does to your manifestation. Another mistake is comparing your journey to others. You might see someone manifesting money in a week or love in a month and wonder, why not me? But what you don't see is their backstory, the alignment they've built over time, or the inner work they've already done. Comparison pulls you out of your own lane and makes you doubt your process. And doubt is one of the fastest ways to stall your results. The third mistake is being vague. People often say things like, "I want more money," or "I want love." But the universe responds to clarity. If you asked a waiter for some food, you wouldn't be surprised if they brought you something random off the menu. It's the same with manifestation. The clearer your vision, the easier it is for life to align with it. And finally, there's the mistake of ignoring inner blocks. You can affirm, "I am wealthy" 100 times, but if deep down you believe money is evil, or that you're not worthy of abundance, those affirmations won't stick. Manifestation isn't just about what you say, it's about what you believe at the core. And if your subconscious is running on old programming, it will quietly sabotage your efforts until you face it. So, let's recap where we are so far. Manifestation isn't broken, and you're not broken either. The real reason it feels tough sometimes is because most people are taught a half-truth version of the process. You've been told it's instant when really, it requires alignment. You've been told to fear negative thoughts when really, it's about your dominant energy. And you've been told you don't need to act when really, action is part of co-creation. Once you clear these myths and mistakes, everything shifts. So let's talk about one of the most frustrating parts of manifestation, the delay. Why is it that sometimes you ask, you visualize, you affirm, and yet nothing seems to happen? Days pass, weeks pass, sometimes even years pass. And in that gap, doubt starts to creep in. You wonder if you're doing something wrong, or worse, if manifestation is just a fantasy. But here's the truth. Delay doesn't mean denial. More often than not, a delay means preparation. Think of it like planting a seed. When you place it in the soil, You don't walk out the next morning expecting a full-grown tree. You understand there's an invisible process happening beneath the surface. Roots forming, the seeds splitting, nutrients being absorbed. Manifestation works the same way. Just because you can't see it yet doesn't mean nothing is happening. Life is rearranging itself, aligning people, opportunities, and even shifting your own mindset so that when the manifestation arrives, you're actually ready to hold it. And that leads us to a powerful but uncomfortable truth. Sometimes the reason your manifestation feels delayed is because you aren't yet aligned with what you're asking for. Imagine asking the universe for $1 million, but deep down you still feel unworthy of abundance or fearful of responsibility. That money arriving right away would feel overwhelming, maybe even destructive. So the universe waits, not to punish you, but to protect you. The delay becomes space for you to grow into the version of yourself who can sustain the blessing you've been asking for. This is where subconscious blocks come into play. Most of us carry old programming we don't even realize. Beliefs we absorbed as children, like money is hard to earn, or good things don't last, or I don't deserve love. Consciously, you might be affirming abundance every day, but subconsciously, you're running a script that contradicts it. And here's the thing. The subconscious mind is like the soil your seeds are planted in. If the soil is dry and rocky, even the best seed will struggle to grow. Clearing those subconscious blocks through awareness, inner healing, journaling, or meditation is like enriching the soil so your desires can finally take root. Now let's talk about resistance, because this is another hidden reason why manifestations stall. Resistance shows up as that inner tug-of-war between what you want and what you currently believe. It's that little voice that says, "This will never work," every time you try to visualize. It's the doubt that creeps in when things don't move quickly. Resistance is natural, but if you don't address it, it becomes a wall. And the harder you push against that wall with forced positivity, the thicker it grows. This brings us to an important distinction most people overlook: the difference between forced positivity and aligned belief. Forced positivity is when you're trying to cover up doubt with a smile, when you're repeating affirmations you don't truly feel, or when you tell yourself, "I'm fine, I'm happy, everything's perfect," even though inside you're frustrated and scared. It's like painting over a cracked wall without fixing the foundation. The cracks will keep showing through. Aligned belief, on the other hand, isn't about pretending everything is okay. It's about finding thoughts and feelings that actually resonate with where you are right now. For example, if saying, "I am a millionaire" feels fake and stressful, an aligned belief might be, "I'm learning to attract more opportunities every day," or "I'm open to new ways money can flow into my life." Aligned belief feels lighter. It feels true. And because it feels true, your subconscious doesn't fight it. It accepts it, and that's when real change begins. To make this relatable, let's use a simple story. Imagine two people trying to cross a river. One person builds a rickety bridge out of forced positivity. They're rushing, slapping boards across the water, ignoring the weak spots, hoping if they just smile hard enough, the bridge will hold. But halfway across, it collapses because it wasn't strong enough to carry them. The second person takes time to build their bridge with aligned belief. They choose solid planks, test each one, and gradually cross with confidence. Their bridge takes longer to build, but once it's done, it supports them fully. That's the difference between rushing with false positivity and patiently aligning with beliefs that actually feel stable. Another way to think about it is like tuning a radio. Forced positivity is like cranking the volume on static. You're trying so hard to drown out the noise, but it's not the right station. Aligned belief is gently turning the dial until the music comes in clear. The energy is smoother, the signal is stronger, and you no longer feel like you're fighting with yourself. So, if manifestation has ever felt tough, it's not because you're doing it wrong, it's because you're human. You have layers of beliefs, emotions, and experiences that sometimes need to be untangled before your desires can flow freely. Delays are not punishments, subconscious blocks are not permanent, and resistance is not failure. They're just signals. They're reminders of where you're still growing, where you're still healing, and where you can shift from forcing into aligning. So now that we've uncovered the myths, the delays, and the hidden resistance, the question becomes, what do you actually do when manifestation feels tough? How do you keep going when nothing seems to be shifting? The first step is simple but powerful: release the pressure. When you're constantly watching the clock, waiting for results, you create tension in your energy. That tension signals lack. Instead, shift your focus back to the present moment. Ask yourself, what can I appreciate right now? What's already working in my life? Gratitude isn't just a cliche. It's an energetic reset. It softens resistance and reminds your mind that you're not empty. You're already supported. The second step is to lean into patience. Patience isn't about waiting around passively. It's about trusting the process while staying engaged in your own growth. If you've planted the seed, your job isn't to dig it up every day. Your job is to water it, nurture it, and trust that it's growing, even when you can't see it. Patience is choosing to believe that just because something isn't visible, yet doesn't mean it isn't real. But patience alone isn't enough. You also need aligned action. And this is where many people get stuck. They either push too hard, trying to control every outcome, or they sit back and do nothing, hoping the universe will hand them everything on a silver platter. The sweet spot is in the balance. Think of manifestation as a dance between you and the universe. Your thoughts, your energy, your vision, that's your invitation. But your steps, your decisions, your willingness to show up, that's your contribution. For example, if you're manifesting a new career, yes, visualize it, affirm it, believe in it, but also send the applications, learn the skills, or network with people in your field. That action is the proof of your belief. At the same time, remember that aligned action feels different from forced hustle. Forced hustle comes from fear. The thought that if you don't do everything, nothing will happen. Aligned action comes from trust. It's inspired, it flows, and it feels meaningful. One way to tell the difference is to check your energy. Does this step feel heavy and frantic, or does it feel like a natural move forward? Following that feeling will help you stay in harmony instead of burnout. Another practical step when manifestation feels tough is to reframe setbacks as feedback. If something doesn't happen the way you expected, instead of thinking, "I failed," ask, "What is this teaching me?" Maybe the delay is showing you that your desire needs more clarity. Maybe the closed door is redirecting you towards something better. The universe isn't ignoring you, it's communicating with you. The more you learn to listen, the easier the process becomes. And here's something important to remember. Just because results take time does not mean you're failing. Manifestation is not a test of whether you're worthy. It's a journey of becoming the version of yourself who can hold what you've asked for. If your desire hasn't arrived yet, it might be because you're still building the mindset, the habits, or the self-worth to sustain it. That doesn't mean you're off track. It means you're in progress. Think of it like training for a marathon. On day 1, you don't run 26 miles. You build strength, stamina, and resilience. Each run, even the small ones, prepares you for the big moment. Manifestation is the same. Every visualization, every mindset shift, every small inspired action, it all adds up, even if you can't see the finish line yet. You're not behind, you're not failing, you're simply training for the life you've asked for. And here's the encouragement I want you to carry with you. Your desires are valid. The fact that they're in your heart means they're meant for you. The universe doesn't dangle dreams in front of us as a cruel joke. If you've envisioned it, if you've felt it in your bones, then it exists for you in some timeline. Your job is to keep aligning, keep growing, and keep trusting until that timeline becomes your reality. So when manifestation feels tough, come back to these reminders. Release the pressure, practice patience, take aligned action, and see setbacks as feedback. And most importantly, know that delays are not denials. You are not failing just because it's taking time. Every step, every lesson, every moment of growth is part of the manifestation unfolding. Now, if this message resonated with you, I want you to remember something. You don't have to walk this journey alone. We're building a community here of people who are committed to mastering their mindset, aligning their energy, and manifesting with clarity. So if you found value in this video, make sure to hit that like button. It helps spread this message to others who need it. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next deep dive into mindset and manifestation. And most importantly, drop a comment below sharing what you're manifesting right now or what part of this message spoke to you the most. Your words might just inspire someone else who's feeling stuck today. Remember, manifestation is not about perfection. It's about progress. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be. And your dream? It's not just possible, it's already on its way. Stay patient, stay aligned, and keep trusting. Your breakthrough is closer than you think.